Gaming, and most of what surrounds it, has had a very distinct culture predicated on two dichotomies. Gamers who want to maintain a culture against an idealized enemy, and those who just want to be accepted in a community. There are many examples of the former that want nothing more to validate their cause, even if it doesn't mean giving deference to someone who won an award for being the best. Meet Dominic SonicFox McLean, arguably the most dominant fighting game player ever. At the Game Awards in 2018, he ended up winning Best Esports Player of the Year. Unfortunately, this was already going to be controversial, but then he said this.
Guess all I gotta really say is that I'm gay, black, furry, pretty much everything a Republican hates, and the best esports player of the year, I guess. Thank you so much.
Regardless of what you think about what he said, he is almost correct in everything he says. He is gay, he's black, and a furry, and it can be argued that those three things are hated by Republicans. What he said doesn't really even hurt them. Republicans and neoliberals are at the top of the hegemony in society and the world at large. Not that this discredits my argument, but really think about how a top gamer who's a furry does anything to the credibility of who he's supposedly attacking. Even with that perspective, that isn't what is important with the statement. He's been saying this for the latter half of last year, but the only difference is that he's on a much grander stage. So of course, he's going to be lambasted with the same deflective point every time. What does this have to do with video games? Well, pretty much everything. When we talk about gaming culture, we need to talk about how gaming is perceived in popular culture. Even before... Gamers and political/social discourse never fully developed. The consensus is that gaming is seen as an escape, a place to chase hedonistic desires while fulfilling parts of yourself you otherwise couldn't. Gaming is still developing as an art form. In order for this medium to be taken seriously by everyone, it has to be able to tackle issues and challenge its audiences just as effective as other mediums.
Gamers want playing a video game to be a respected way to spend their time. They want to appear cultured for having completed highly praised titles. They want everyone else who ignores games to see how amazing and enrapturing and evocative a game can be. And there's a naive optimism in that I can respect. I mean, I certainly see beauty and expressive potential in systems, and if I didn't, I wouldn't do this show. But the naive optimism is overshadowed by the tantrums thrown when gamers see the reality of games being taken seriously. They want to proclaim their hobby to be art with no strings attached. They want their games to be adulated without also being criticized. They want their games to be hard to play, but not challenging to consume.
We all know for a fact that gaming as a whole is more than just a hobby. To many, it's a passion, a challenge, and most likely to SonicFox, a discipline. Even looking at the text, the Game Awards isn't really about video games to begin with. It's a promotional event within the industry. Same goes for any other awards events. It's just business. If SonicFox getting an award for being the best esports player really ruins your love of gaming, you need to reevaluate your passions and hobbies. Video games and the culture that surrounds it, at least for the majority of it, is predicated upon a hegemonic masculinity. Video games are marketed towards boys and men. That isn't an opinion, that is just how companies used to use demographics when looking to push a title's sales. For instance, let's watch this advertisement for Tomb Raider 2. You know, a game featuring a female protagonist. This game could have been marketed towards anyone. However, back in the 90s, this was the status quo. Problematic now, but this is just how it was. Due to the gender ratio gap closing, the industry needed to move to be more inclusive. Never mind that a lot of indie titles have been trying to spark that dialogue way before when it may have been desperately needed, but consequentially, the culture would shift in a different direction. Gamers started to feel attacked. This video isn't a retrospective on, and the shift in gaming culture in the past few years, nor am I really comparing this particular event to it, but a look at how much we've learned from that and how things changed, and how much things didn't change at the same time.
I wanna take you for a ride. I wanna take you for a ride. I wanna take you for a ride.
You are not as woke as you think you are, bud. In fact, you are everything you claim to be against.
The reaction to SonicFox's statements have proven that despite the culture shifting ever so slightly, there are those who still seek to capitalize off SonicFox's achievements using bad faith arguments. The only issue with this is that SonicFox has much more social proof than any YouTube schmuck. I don't believe there is any excuse for smothering discourse in video games now. The community in video games itself keep improving on their artistic and cultural merit. Esports will just be as big as traditional sports in the next 5 to 10 years, giving credibility and building rapport for these athletes. Whether you want to believe it or not, SonicFox is a role model to many people out there, not just because of how he labels himself, but for who he actually is. People can commentate on the identity politics all day if they want. It just goes to show how their biases guide their narrative. If you honestly believe that SonicFox's comments elicit concern for a quote-unquote nefarious narrative, then you might need to reevaluate how you look at and prioritize politics and gaming culture, and the world at large. With SonicFox, you can choose not to like him, but you can at least give him some deference. For all the negatives, you can pull 10 positives for his prominence in the gaming culture at large today. Not only does he bring legitimacy to esports, he's become a positive symbol for LGBT and furries. SonicFox's existence in gaming doesn't impede on anyone, and if you feel that he does, you should challenge him at the plethora of games he's dominated in. Especially if you're a quote-unquote, and I'm saying this without irony unfortunately, a real gamer. Oh god. Oh god. Ronald, get the fuck off my screen. Jesus. Hell yeah. Whoa, excuse me? That's how Happy Meals are made? Holy shit. Spy Kids 3D. When the movie came out, I saw it in the theaters. Even then I was like, what the fuck is going on? Why is George Lopez this, like, fucking Krang-ass creature?